Hello friends, welcome again to Nanaaba's Kitchen, and if you're visiting for the first time, a warm welcome to you as always, and thank you for choosing to join us today. On the menu is our party jollof rice with a surf and turf approach. So I'm using beef and shrimp in this recipe. I was on a business trip recently and I had to make sure there was food at home for my family. So in my food processor, I have garlic. I have 6 cloves of garlic, 2 serrano chilies, ginger about the size of 2 of my thumbs, and I also have a stick of celery, all gone into the food processor. And then I have 2 large red onions. I'm also adding 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary. I'm going to be grinding these ingredients until I attain a coarse texture. In my food processor, I've added a handful of fresh curled leaf parsley. Now, this party jollof rice recipe is guaranteed to win the attention and the love of your guests. I have made this before at an event, and let me tell you, my guests were very impressed. So we are now working on some onions. Again, this time I'm using white onions. So I'm using a combination of white and red in this recipe. This is 2 large white onions. The reason I didn't blend them all together in my food processor is obviously because my food processor can only take so much ingredients at a time. So I had to separate them. So I have my onions in there, and I also have 2 large red bell peppers at this point. So I blend them together. Again, I'm looking for a coarse texture. So there you have it. So now that's all done. The reason I use a food processor instead of a blender at this time is because I really did not want to add any water to my blended ingredients. I don't want to dilute anything here. So I now have my beef, 3 pounds of beef, and I've added my salt to season. Be generous with your salt at this point because you want your meat to taste like meat. And then I've added 2 ladles full of my blended ingredients. Now I have white and black peppercorns, half a teaspoon each. And I'm also going to include half a teaspoon of aniseed. And I'm going to grind again using my mortar and pestle to get a coarse texture. And then I'm going to pour it onto the meat. And we are ready to cook this. So we're going to cook our beef on medium heat for about 20 to 25 minutes. First, you want to stir all the ingredients together to get them well mixed. And then you're going to cover the pot and cook for 20 to 25 minutes. And by which time our beef will be nice and tender and our broth will be rich and perfect. While that's happening, we're going to prep our shrimps, which have been deveined, the heads have been removed, and they've also been shelled. So I've added my cold pressed virgin coconut oil for that nice Caribbean flavor. Now I'm adding my shrimps and I spread them out so that they have a chance to perfectly saute. Now you want to add some freshly crushed black pepper and season with some salt and cook for about 2 minutes because that's about all it takes to cook shrimp this size. Give it a stir and quickly remove from the hot pot. You do not want to overcook your shrimp because it becomes rubbery. Set it aside, and let's check on our beef. It has been cooking for 20 minutes and the beef is tender, the broth is rich. So now we're going to give the beef a little bit of color. So add a little more oil, whatever oil of your choice, and just saute your beef. We're not deep frying today. So you're gonna cook it for about 4 minutes while constantly stirring just to get a little caramelization going. And then your beef is ready, set it aside and begin working on your jollof stew. So here is a cup of tomato paste and the rest of my onion blends. And then I'm also seasoning generously at this point with some salt, and I have 2 teaspoons of curry powder. That is it. Give it a good stir, make sure all your ingredients are well mixed together. And then you're going to turn your heat down to its lowest setting, and you're going to cover the pot and cook for 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, you will notice that the oil has separated itself from the rest of the ingredients. Your indication that your stew is ready for the next step. So now we're going to add the broth. And take a good look at how rich this broth is. you know your jollof rice is going to be delicious. Now, what I love about this recipe is how quick and how simple it is. Very few ingredients, and yet the flavors are huge. They're big, they're dynamite. So here comes my secret ingredient. You want some more richness? Add some butter to your jollof rice and you will thank me later. Now we're adding our beef. Stir everything together. We're going to cover the pot and cook another 10 minutes until the oil resurfaces. That's how you know your jollof stew is cooked and ready for the rice. I'm using 8 total cups of jasmine rice, which is a long grain, non-sticky, perfumed rice, and it's perfect for the jollof rice. So wash it till the water is clear and add the rice to the stew and give it a good stir. You want all your grains to be well coated with the jollof stew. Now I like my jollof rice to be fluffy and the grains are not sticking to each other, so I don't incorporate a lot of liquid in my jollof rice recipes. So I have 8 cups of rice, but I'm only using 6 cups of water, and it's hot water, by the way. So give it a good stir, because what we're going to do is use steam in cooking the rice, and the way to do that is by trapping the steam with your parchment paper or foil and cover with the lid and cook on low heat for 20 minutes. After which you're going to go back in and sort of reposition the rice. So you're going to move the top to the bottom and vice versa, okay, so that you're redistributing that heat and the steam in order for all the grains of rice to be cooked through. You don't want any crunchy areas. So once that's done, you're going to also add your shrimp, because at this stage we still have some moisture in the rice. We still have some of that stew with moisture, so that way your shrimp is able to take on the flavors of the jollof stew. So you want to stir it up, cover with your parchment paper to trap the steam, and your lid as well, and cook for another 20 minutes on low heat. And voila, it is done. No crunchy areas, fluffy as it can possibly be. And I served it with my lightly dressed garden salad, and it was quite delightful. Try the recipe, come back with your feedback. I thank you all so much for watching, and make it a great day. And as always, have fun, especially in that kitchen.